Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the zodiac sign, Cancer, archetypes, and I'm going to be using examples from the sun, for the sun, moon, and ascendant. So anyway, well, one person on a personal note, one person that epitomizes Cancerian energy, I believe that really comes to mind, is a woman that was very prominent in my life many years ago, played a very integral role in you know, perhaps who I am to some degree today, very prominent person in my life. But she has a Cancer ascendant. She has it, what I see is the full culmination at 29 degrees. I would say being very peripatetic can be a vast understatement. Now, a lot of people, I think, have a misconception of Cancer that, you know, the zodiac sign Cancer. Well, you're Cancer. You're going to have a prodigious home life. You're going to have you're going to have a really good family and good home life and this and that. And that doesn't always work out like that. I think with her, I mean, she was very peripatetic. She moved a number of times. My sun sign is in Cancer. I could be seen by some as a Cancerian archetype, but I'll get to that later on, what I believe as far as that goes. But anyway, and I mean, she was the kind of person, I mean, she would overreact very emotionally to so many things on a number of occasions, and very, I would say, supremely sensitive to criticism and ridicule. At the same time, don't get me wrong, she had some good qualities and attributes. She very strong, sympathetic, compassionate energy as well. And now another person on another personal level that I think is very emblematic of the zodiac sign Cancer was another Cancer rising person who was in my life for about a year. It was about 30 years ago. It was a woman that I was engaged to at one time, Cancer ascendant. And the thing about it is, I mean, she even said to me one time that she would feel my pain, like my emotional pain that she would feel. And that's what Cancerian energy can be about. And she was somebody also that would really cry very easily. And the thing about it is, I mean, she even acknowledged that she was a very sensitive person. And the thing, too, is I've stated previously in other videos that I think the zodiac sign Cancer may actually love unequivocally more so than the other signs. And it's no offense to the Venus-ruled signs, Taurus and Libra. But the thing about it is that that Cancer, I think sometimes you don't want to ever say that somebody is guilty of loving too much, but Cancer may very well can, and what happens with them is they can love so much, and if that other person doesn't even love them back with half the intensity, they will be so strongly hurt that their hurt is almost, it's proportionate with the love that they exhibited to that expressed toward that person that hurt them. Now, the thing about it is too is that you know, Cancer is not like, if you don't reciprocate or show the same love, and the love that you show is really underappreciated, they could be very emotionally devastated by this, more so than most people, most zodiac signs. So anyway, now a person that I see very prototypical Cancerian personality actually is NBA legend Michael Jordan, who has a Cancer ascendant. And many of you may have seen him. I have a number of crying spells, shows a lot, very strong, powerful emotions. But I mean, even though Cancer is not a fixed sign, it still could be very tenacious and persistent, and their tenacity might be unsurpassed. And I mean, it took Michael Jordan like maybe 7 seasons, I'm thinking, to win an NBA title, but he did so with a lot of tenacity and persistence. And Cancer can often really go for very long durations toward working towards something that they really desire and have a passion for. And there was a moment with Michael Jordan that I remember in it was the 1996 Game 6 of the NBA Finals when the Bulls played the Seattle Supersonics. Many of you may remember after the game, he had clutched he went down to the floor and he clutched the basketball, showing a lot of emotion. And I'm sure he probably was crying when he did this. And he said that he had actually he commemorated, I don't know his exact words, that he commemorated or dedicated that NBA season and the NBA championship to his deceased father. And his father had been killed, I think, a few years before that. And it was on Father's Day when the Bulls won that NBA title in 1996. So it was very convenient the way that worked out. And I mean, and Michael Jordan, really, I do think was showing his inordinate emotional energy, really shows a strong Cancerian side to him. Now, another person too, and some of you may not like that maybe I'm using him as an example in him, but the much vilified and maligned Bill Cosby, who had been the star of the Cosby Show, and I understand he had been found guilty recently. It was 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault. So I guess he is considered a sex offender at this point in time. But he was he played the father on the Cosby Show. And I mean, it's a typical, I mean, he's a sun in Cancer, and it's a typical Cancerian role. Now, many of you may have, have heard me say previously over and over again that I do think that actors and actresses, my theory on this anyway, is that they are often drawn toward roles that may correspond with their astrological energy on a conscious or perhaps subconscious level at times. And I think Bill Cosby is no exception. Now, going toward another person, this person had a Cancer ascendant, the late actor Alan Thicke, who was a star on the sitcom Growing Pains. He played Dr. Seaver on the show, and I mean, he played someone that was basically the consummate family man, and many people had seen him as one of the, the best, dads, or, TV dad, one of America's favorite TV dads, or what have you. And the thing about him too is that on the show, interestingly enough, okay, he played, it was like either a psychiatrist or psychologist, but he stayed at home and did it. And it's not uncommon for Cancerian personalities to do things, to do professions out of their home. And on the show, he played somebody that was doing work out of their home, because I guess Maggie Seaver had started some kind of career or she was in a career working as a reporter, and she wasn't at home. So he decided to take the job at home. So anyway, now another thing too is that going back to the actors and actresses, they may, about being connected with roles that can correspond with their astrological energies. You look at actor Mel Gibson, another Cancer ascendant. Now, many of you, when you think of Mel Gibson, you think of the Lethal Weapon movies, and you see him in a real flippant and comical nature on the show, on those movies, and the role he plays. But he played, he was in that movie Ransom. Many of you may have remembered that. And I remember there was one iconic scene where he said very emotionally, he said either give me back my son or give me back my son, something like that. And and I think, that showed a lot of that, Cancerian energy and that strong connection to family. I mean, Cancer people can really, they're generally non-confrontational, non-combative, but I mean, there might be hell to pay if you do mess with one of their family members, and that is when it's really might be time when the kid gloves are off, so to speak, and then it's time to put the battle suits on, figuratively speaking. Another person that comes to mind, Sylvester Stallone, a sun in Cancer. And he, many of you remember him from Rocky renown. He played Rocky in the Rocky movies. Of course, he had the title role. In one of the Rocky movies, I remember that somebody one time had tried to bait him. I think it was the actor Tommy Morrison, I believe it was. He had tried to goad and bait Sylvester Stallone, and was challenging him to a fight. And Rocky, aka Sylvester Stallone, started walking away. He's, just like whatever, and it kept on going. And then what happened is that Morrison had pushed the person that played Sylvester Stallone's father-in-law in the movie, and when he pushed him, then Rocky started taking his jacket off, or whatever, down it was his shirt or his jacket, and he started walking toward Morrison at that point in time, and he was ready to fight at that point in time. So as I stated before, a lot of this is really typical, of actors and actresses being connected with roles on a conscious or perhaps subconscious level at times that correlate or correspond with their astrological energies. Now, another thing too that could actually, somebody that might be a prototypical Cancerian personality, actually, despite having a Sagittarius ascendant, is Prince William, who has a Cancer sun and moon. And the thing about with him is, okay, I know a lot of people, and even I might have given people like him some flack, because these people, people like him are born obviously into affluence, prosperity, and wealth, and they might never have a monetary worry in the world. But the thing about it is, with Prince William having a Cancer sun and Cancer moon, he will still have certain worries in his life. He's going to have family worries. He believes he's got 3 children right now. He's married, and he will, this family is obviously going to play a very dominant role in his life. And when you have children, their problems can become yours. Especially when they're at the very young age, when you are taking care of them. And the thing about him too is, you look at Prince William as well, and he was actually on, he was with some mountain rescue team for like a couple weeks at one time. And rescuing can be the Cancerian namesake, and I really think that Prince William, with this Cancerian energy in his chart, that he's more about me, myself, than me, myself, and I. And I think he really can be strongly sympathetic and really connect himself with the needs of other people as well. And he might not ever have a monetary worry, but he certainly will have other worries during the course of his life. I think especially, I would say, family ones. So, but I think he really is somebody that really embodies strong Cancerian energy. Now, another person that was a friend of mine, a friend and became an enemy. He was somebody that I had, gotten into it with, and it was in high school. There was a fight in high school, and I'd won the fight against him, and it was, basically, I think he felt demoralized because of the people that saw the fight. And the thing about it is, he was a Virgo sun and ascendant, but he has a Cancerian moon. And he had actually cried afterwards. I kind of, part of me looking back feels a little bad in a way about that. And what point I'm making is, Cancerian energy could be very sensitive. And you have the Cancer moon. That's, of course, in its dignity, so it can come out stronger than a lot of other moon placements. I do believe Gemini moon can come out very strongly, as I've stated before in at least one other video, even though the moon in Gemini, of course, it's not in a prominent position. It's not in its dignity, exaltation, detriment, or fall, but I still think it does come out strongly. But anyway, the point I'm making is, he definitely showed to me as a lot of really strong, powerful Cancerian emotions, and he was obviously, to me, a lot more sensitive and emotional than the typical Virgo sun ascendant person. So I thought he embodied strong Cancerian energy. Now, another person, thing about this is, somebody, I could ask myself, maybe, do I see myself as a Cancerian, a Cancer archetype? Well, I really actually don't think I am. There's a number of people that might think that I really exhibit a lot of strong Cancerian characteristics and attributes or what have you. But I really don't see myself as that. As I stated before, I understand all Cancers are not going to have, prodigious home lives or big families, phenomenal home existence or what have you. But the thing about it is that most Cancerian people will still have some kind of strong family connection in their life, even if they don't have many family members. But my family situation, to be completely honest with you, has gone practically non-existent. I mean, that is just the unabashed, unadulterated truth, the veritable truth. And the thing about it is, I really don't see myself as a Cancerian archetype. I think I resonate more with my Taurus ascendant, but that is just my own opinion and perception of myself. But anyway, well, last but not least, there is one person I talk about on a, I mean, this is on another personal level, is a Cancer Sun friend of mine. I felt like he was very, somebody that really resonates strongly with the zodiac sign Cancer. I see him as a Cancer archetype. And what happened with him a number of years ago, he had, might have been 3 or 4 years ago, he had a breakup with somebody that is significant other or what have you. And what happened was, I mean, he took it very hard, obviously, and I know a lot of people can take breakups hard regardless of their astrological energies. But he, I mean, almost, I think, might have taken it to practically another level. He went for very protracted periods without eating that much, I guess, or he wasn't able to hold any food down. He was very devastated. He was going through very strong anguish. And I mean, even when I saw him, maybe about 2 years later, I mean, he was very consumptive. He was much thinner than I had remembered him. He actually, when I first had met him, he looked very strong and vigorous. You could tell, looked like he had worked out consistently. And I mean, it was almost like he just let himself, go to hell, basically, figuratively speaking. I mean, it just, to me, what happened was, I mean, I think he was just, I think that breakup, I think the fact she left him or whatever, was just so devastating to him. And in being, Cancerian personalities, what I think it is this goes back again to the fact when you look at the zodiac sign Cancer, I think they can irrebutably love more on average than the other zodiac signs. That's just my own honest opinion on it. And what happens is, if somebody leaves them, I think the reason that they are so much more devastated than most other signs on average, and it's more traumatic to them, it's more astonishing that the blow is so much stronger to them, is because it has to do with how they love that person. And what happens is, I think Cancer reacts almost like, if this makes any sense, proportionately with how they love that person that left them. So what happens is, they will give themselves so much emotionally. They will invest so much on an emotional level into that connection, into that relationship. And they'll express so much more, though, when that person, him or her, departs that person. That's what I think happens. And I think the emotional letdown that they experience is actually proportionate with what the feelings that they gave and the emotional energy they gave and the love that was expressed during the time he or she was connected with that person. That's just the theory I have as far as that goes. And it's really like, again, they feel irrebuttably they can love more on average than perhaps the other zodiac signs. And the thing is that they feel after that breakup is proportionate with how they love. And I really think that has a lot to do with the fact that, maybe people will see Cancer and they'll say, they'll look at him or her, how come he or she is doing this? Why are they still upset at that person leaving? Why can't they just put things in perspective and say, just forget about the person. The person might have not even loved you to begin with. If they could forget about you, why can't you do the same to them? But it's not that easy for Cancer to grasp. Now, I guess because my moon and ascendant are in non-water signs, I have an ability more than the average Cancer sun to actually eradicate a relationship, a situation that I find at some point in time is not auspicious, or it's to my detriment. If I think somebody is using me, I will drop that person like a bad habit. There will be no looking back, and I don't think I'm going to be nearly as emotionally devastated by it as the typical Cancer sun, but that is just me. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the zodiac sign Cancer archetypes. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be talking about Leo archetypes. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel, but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.